Hello and welcome to episode 39 of the Diamonds and Dud podcast. I am Ivan.
And I am Charles. How you all doing?
We're doing great.
Yeah. People can see us now.
People can see it. We figured out technology. It only took us 39 episodes to figure out how to do something from 10 years ago.
Hey, we're old.
Yeah, we thank God for the YouTubes.
Yeah. Thank God for the internets.
The internets are good.
Yeah.
Today we're doing Galaxy of Terror. As we were looking for something for this time, we got rather excited when we saw James Cameron had a part in this.
Yeah.
Was involved in it.
So the Galaxy of Terror, we're going to the Wayback Machine, 1981. Astronauts face space monsters on a distant planet.
Now, when you look at the Rotten Tomatoes score of this, I don't want to shock you, Charles, but the critics gave it 36%. The audience, which normally, in almost every one we've done, the audience is always higher than the critics.
It usually is. Generally was like, film and TV in particular.
Yeah. This was lower than the critics at 28%. This was directed by...
Still my heart.
This was directed by Bruce Clark. This was the last thing he directed.
That tracks.
It was written by Bruce Clark, Mark Siegler, and William. I can't read my writing. We'll call it Stewart.
Did in your research did you read anything about the writers being flogged as punishment?
No, because I can't imagine there was a lot of hype around this.
Probably not.
It does star two people in here. Two people in here you might recognize. One is
Three, actually. I got a third.
Oh, you got a third one. Okay.
I got a third one.
First is Aaron Moran, who you 80s fans from Happy Days.
4.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot about her.
Okay.
4.
Okay. Robert Englund, who plays, I believe he's the mechanic, or the engineer or something like that.
Yeah. And this is pre Freddy Krueger.
This is pre Freddy Krueger.
By not a long time, but
I forgot Mr. Hand. I forget the guy's actual name from Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Ray, that's one. Ray Walston.
Yeah,
Fast Times. He's also he became popular. I don't know when they go to the black and white era. My Favorite Martian.
Oh, okay.
He was My Favorite Martian, and there is another one. There's another one for horror lovers.
Okay.
There's a legendary horror actor in it, Sid Haig. We have seen him in House of a Thousand Corpses.
Oh, okay.
He played, the class.
Who was he in this? Do you remember?
He played. He was the.
Oh, was he the bald guy? The bald guy?
Yeah. We'll get to it.
I can.
My favorite part of. There's not a whole lot that I liked. I mean, but I will say my favorite part of the movie, legit, was his moment there.
No, and so. What we're going to do, we'll kind of go through a little synopsis here and kind of talk it through. It opens up on some spaceship.
And one thing I noticed, again, first of all, this is a low budget movie, obviously. It is really hard to see a lot of this movie. Visually, there's a lot of parts that are just a little too dark. I get that's a tactic when we're low budget. There's just certain parts of the movie where they went just a little too dark with the light.
I think part of it was, and this is someone who didn't see it at the time, saw it, a few days ago. But I think part of it probably also is that at the time, like you said, the thought is you can make it darker, it'll look fine.
Yeah.
But in the course of today, where it's going to brighten everything up,
it
just looks like really shitty purple fog.
This is true. But yeah, it's like some kind of planet, some kind of ship.
Some kind of ship. They don't really. They kind of explain what this ship is here in a second. The first thing I noticed is they have some guy running down a corridor, holding a giant fucking gun underneath his arms.
Yeah.
Which I found really distracting because a lot of actors did that in this movie. They didn't hold the gun like you would.
No,
they held it under their arms like that.
I don't understand that. That seems like a pretty. Holding a gun is kind of an intuitive thing.
Yeah, bluntly, I think it's whoever the person was who made the set design or whatever you'd call it on this. It just, they were so goddamn big, and since it was low budget, there was probably 2 guns in the entire movie.
Probably, yeah.
And so it was like, okay, I can't carry it the other way.
One thing I made a note of early on here is so like we get the hard to see kind of opening. It seems like kind of like the dark barren wasteland, but then when it switches to like the ship corridor and like the guy starts running, the music. Now,
Oh,
I don't have an issue with most of the music in this movie. I have a big fucking issue. The music right there.
yeah, I didn't put super detailed notes on that part. I put weird ass music.
Yeah.
Is what I also know there are parts of this where the music was fine, except for the fact that it was too goddamn loud.
Yeah, yeah.
It was part of it too.
It was music that did not remotely fit the moment whatsoever. It was jarring,
And this very well could be me making some stuff up, but it also felt like for some of the sounds they may have used like stock sounds.
Oh yeah, I'm sure
for a lot of, because there was like, I forget what it was for. It was some monster way later in the movie. They used a lot of squishing sounds,
Yeah,
which was frankly rather gross.
Yeah.
But yeah, the dead guy goes running. They don't really show you much what's chasing after him at all, so you don't really have an idea what it is. You see another guy in a dryer that starts spinning.
Yep.
But don't worry, that's never going to come up ever again.
Nope.
And then he spontaneously dies.
You see a very, very. It's like quick images. It seems like whatever it was, maybe telekinesis, something like that. You see a couple very, very quick images of some kind of monster.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I think this movie had a lot of big ideas that, given, it probably would have been better at the time, having a lot of this, the like we talked about a couple times, the visuals better.
Yeah.
But visuals kind of not brightened up. But it just, a lot of this stuff really just sort of takes you out of it.
And for me, it shows it kind of feels like, because we know there's multiple writers in this movie, kind of feels like they didn't collaborate at all. They each they like did it like the Star Wars sequel trilogy, where like, all right, you're directing this one, you direct this one, you direct this one. We're not going to do anything with there's not going to be a unifying story. We each tell our own story. And it's going to be a trilogy, and there's not going to be any problems, and no one's going to think.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, "Hey, fuck it, it's editing's problem."
Yeah, and so it feels like a couple of, and we'll get into it, but it feels like a couple, like there's some very in the script. There's some very big, like as far really in terms of what ultimately is the cause. Is not what we saw the entire. Like,
no,
it does not jive with even after the big reveal. Even after there's things that completely contradict that.
Well, it felt like they got all the way to the end with I'll call it part A of what they wanted their ending to be, and then someone came in, or one of the other writers came in and go, "Hey, wouldn't it be really cool if we had a twist?" Twists are cool. Yeah. And so they just sort of didn't change anything at the beginning. They just sort of said, "Hey, it's this."
Yeah.
Is what.
And so so writing is, I have two big areas where this movie just sucked balls. There are some things that I don't have an issue with. I'm not shitting on everything, but there's some big general, like the writing and the acting.
Yeah, and
except for one person.
Well, one thing I'll say here too is that this movie is also free on YouTube.
Yeah.
So that says that says one thing. So if anybody wants to give it a try, give it a try and tell us in the comments if you did. But it's it's one of those ones that I forget if someone just loaded it to YouTube and just the creators don't give a shit, or
because it's free on Amazon as well.
Oh, okay.
So that's where I watched it. And then there's some things it has going for it. For the low budget, the costumes are kind of clunky, but they're fine. I mean, I think they look good enough for low budget. That's the third member of our podcasting team. But the acting, it's like the only person that I did not have an issue with was, and his part isn't huge, was Robert.
I
had no issues with him. I had issues with everybody else, famous and not so famous, known and not known. Sid Haig didn't really have enough to have
And
bad lines.
did this?
But-
So this came out in '83, right?
81.
'81. So did this come out before or after the first Alien?
First Aliens, I want to say First Aliens was pre-80.
Okay.
First Aliens was in the
This
late
seems,
70s.
let's say, heavily in quotations influenced by the first Alien movie.
Yeah.
Is what it felt like.
Yeah, because like almost all the acting in this movie reminded me is Wayne's World. Especially there's a class. Wayne's World's a classic. It's I think it's the first one. Towards the end of the first one, first or second, whatever. But Wayne is stopping at a gas station he's trying to save the day, whatever like that. And it might be whichever one it is. And it's like a gas station supposed to like attendant's going to give him directions, and the actor is just like is recalling a story like the actor's just like absolute shit. And so because Wayne's World, they broke the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Wayne come on, I know this is a bit part, but can we get someone better than this? And in Wayne's World, they switched it out for Charlton Heston. But that's like that I just kept on thinking of Wayne. I know this is a low budget movie, but can we get better than this?
And I'm not going to fault the actors too much. The part I'm going to fault is how many takes were they given and that kind of stuff too, because a lot of this stuff just and part of it's the act, but part of it was just asinine. Because as we go to which the person I had the most problem with was two things. The captain / pilot, but I had a problem with the fact that they had a captain and a commander. Which was I had no problem with there being because the base of the commander is supposed to be for lack of a better word, the Paul Reiser character from Aliens, is what he's supposed to be, kind of the company man, which we'll talk about in a second. But then the pilot's the leader of the ship. But the way they sort of say captain and commander just willy-nilly, you have no goddamn idea who they're talking about.
Yeah, and let's just make it clear. In the annals of TV, movie, media history, there's a lot, over 100 years now. I can unequivocally say, whether space, ship, anybody called a captain, this is the worst fucking captain we've ever fucking seen. And I'm not just talking, I'm talking like looking as a character. I'd rather have the fucking devil be my captain. I'd rather have this captain sucks.
And we'll get to that in a second. There's a key plot point I just want to make sure we don't, because the captain scene's, I think, basically is almost next. But before we go after that one random ship dies, we go to a planet, I believe it's called Xerxes.
Yeah, Xerxes.
Xerxes. There's a woman and a red-headed guy.
Yeah.
Literally, it's like red mist, I think.
I don't know if it was supposed to be a surprise, if you were supposed to wonder who it is. Considering I've heard the guy's voice in a million movies, it was obvious right to me right away who it was.
Who was it?
Oh, it was Ray Walsh. It was, it's it's Mr. Head.
Oh, see,
he's redhead guy. He's the mask. It was right away. I'm like, because originally I'm thinking we're not really Ray Walsh. Oh, he got lucky. We're not going to see his head. He's just a redhead. He didn't. He gets and then a couple scenes oh no, we actually see this. That was totally Ray Walsh.
They're playing They're playing some game, which I think was, and I think this goes to where my brother was mentioning multiple writers and maybe they didn't talk to each other.
Yeah.
The first part of this was really planting seeds for there being a heavy game aspect to this and a lot of lore behind it, but then it's not really talked about ever again until the very tippy end where they go, hey, here's the ending. But the redheaded guy says basically they can see the future or something, and the redheaded guy needs to get to that ship that had a bunch of people die. The woman who is there can also see the future, and she's like, hey, a whole bunch of people are going to die if you do this.
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck it, I don't care.
Yeah.
Which you find out one of the people's him.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand why he would knowingly... And that can be, I've mentioned this on a bunch of other podcasts, that can easily be explained with a line of dialogue where it's hey, it's my duty, something along with you. fans aren't going to care. Where fans are going to care, or people watching are going to care, is where something glaring like that is just not freaking mentioned again.
Yeah.
But you get from that, then it's like, hey, but then he's like, hey, he goes to somebody, the Paul Reiser character on some shitty TV, and says, hey, you got to lead this.
Yeah.
And doesn't he hear the whole part about a bunch of people are going to die?
Yeah, it looks like-
yeah, he hears the whole bunch of, and he kind of is like, oh, okay. And he's like, hey, you don't get to pick your crew. I pick the crew.
Yeah.
And then it goes to the captain.
Yeah, and that Commander also has an aura of Danny Glover in the Lethal Weapon series without any of the cool stuff. More just I'm too old for this shit.
But also, I'm
like a whiny pussy.
but also, if Danny Glover knew that, hey, I'm gonna die in Lethal Weapon 1, and I'm good with it.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. And then we get the captain. So like, just to set the stage of the kind of captain we have. So like, everyone's getting the shit prepped on, ready to go. We've gotten the introduction by the commander. We get a couple of the crew coming in. The captain comes storming in. It's like, fuck it, go. They're like, wait, no one's ready. But people could die. And there's no
she's like, I don't care. We're taking off from this base in 30 seconds.
Yes,
It's like people are still arriving, and like the crew. This isn't like a ship that normally these people are normally on. It feels like it feels like they all got assigned to this, and they're like, "Hey, it's good to see you again. We were on that other mission," and that kind of stuff, which is kind of crucial for a movie like this because you want some time. And the first Alien was great about this.
Yeah,
is that you want time to get to know little stuff about these characters because you want it to be meaningful when they start dying.
Oh, absolutely.
And the great horror movies are good about this.
Yeah,
movies like Scream and stuff. And
you can't just have the entire thing. You gotta get maybe you get a little taste in the beginning. Like we got a little taste in the beginning if it wasn't laid out well. But we needed to get to know these crew before we start having the
main what I'll call them is the main three. I'm really dumb when it comes to characters' names, so I tend to just sort of name them myself.
Mustache.
I named a mustache guy, Happy Days lady, and guy who likes to go out on his own. Because that was the first thing he said, and I couldn't figure any other nomenclature to use for him because the three of them seem like they know each other from previous.
And mustache guy, I meant to look him up, but I didn't. I'm pretty sure he's done stuff.
Yeah, I 100% think
he's definitely done.
I 100% knew his face.
Yeah, but so the captain and there's no time. It's not like the station's gonna blow up or if they don't.
It's not like it's getting attacked or it's nothing. No, she just fuck it, and it's like, hey, they're not doing their.
It's like I don't care. They're ready. And so they launch it you show people going. And they get fucking pissed at her because no one was fucking ready.
Now, do you think part of it was the captain's like, hey, if I build the ship up, we don't have to film anymore?
Maybe. Maybe the actor's but God, this captain is the worst. I'd rather have Cartman be my captain.
Now, what I will say is that started to grow on me a little bit. The actress who plays the captain, because I wasn't faulting the acting so much for that. I was faulting what they were giving her, and
that's fair.
And she more than gave it her 150% because it's like, hey, I'm in this. I'm getting paid. I'm gonna do the best I can.
I mean, I will say, if you're talking pure entertainment value, because you can be entertained by shit, and that character is probably the most entertaining. It isn't 10 for it, but then we see Ray Walston. All right, he doesn't have the go ahead. So I'm like, okay. At the first, I was like, kind of, what was the point of that? But now I get it out. But then you get the captain's message like Hesperus. Everyone's forgot. And then just say let's move on. I'm like, gee, well, that's a dark fucking omen.
Well, a few things here. There's a few, and where I kind of mentioned in the beginning that there's a lot of I think they had a lot of grand ideas because I talked about the game thing in the beginning. The Happy Days lady, it's mentioned in passing here, and it's one of the few things that's kind of mentioned later,
Yeah.
is that she can sense something,
Yeah.
and she's like, it's something like in her genetics or something. They don't really go into it like at all, but like then there's the captain hiding, not the captain,
Yeah.
the commander hiding something. There's the fact that the captain apparently has seen these things before,
Yeah.
as they keep saying, but they don't reference that at all. And
Yeah.
but the other problem I had is they don't really explain who the hell any of these
Nope.
crew do. Like Mr. Hand, you find out later he's the cook, but like
Yeah.
he's just sort of walking around. And I had to look up, and Fast Times at Ridgemont High was after this.
Yeah.
And he's obviously, unless he's just sort of like this in real life,
Yeah.
he's just sort of plays this character in Fast Times at Ridgemont
Yeah.
High, which I find awesome.
Yeah.
I like that movie even more. I like Fast Times even more now. But like Robert Englund, who plays the engineer, you don't really know he's the engineer.
Nope.
The first character who dies, you don't know what he does,
Nope.
which we'll
And-
get into. I had a major problem with that character's death,
Yeah.
also, which we'll get into, because they basically the other thing that goes into the insane captains, that they have preset hyper.
Oh yeah. Oh god. Yeah.
They have preset hyperdrive coordinates, and I know what's the scientist guy who's popular.
Oh, this which one? Degrassi?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Neil deGrasse.
Neil deGrasse is that obviously hyperdrives aren't real, but the reason they're in these things like calculations is so you don't fly through a fucking star.
Yeah.
And she like just sort of says, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do these calculations. This is gonna get us there faster."
Yeah, and they're like, no, these presets are set for a reason. If you change the presets, we could fucking die. And they're like, she's like, oh no, fuck this. I want to get there 20 minutes faster. You know, it's like I like right down. I'm like, one, she's can't help but to give people good balls. Like she's showing no emotion. Either she's a bad actress or the captain is a fucking sociopath. And I mean, you know, those aren't mutually exclusive, but it's very clear the captain's a fucking sociopath.
Oh god, yes, yes.
And which another thing about this, okay? I mentioned Hesperus. They mentioned it a couple of times, but not enough because again, people were writing 3 different movies. They dropped some hints, not enough, because they changed their minds and forgot to do a rewrite, that the captain has gone through fighting these creatures and stuff before on Hesperus, and they draw hints that like she was the sole survivor, Hesperus, and then like there are creatures, which then directly later in the movie gets contradicted by the fact that it's the quote twist. But again, they forgot to, oh fuck, we need to change this because we didn't, you know, oh well.
And it's like they filmed, and obviously I'm exaggerating here, but it feels like they just sort of filmed the goddamn thing straight through, and it's like, yeah, it has to go out now. We're out of money. We can't edit. Is what it feels like. But they arrive at the planet. Ship spins and crashes basically to give them like it gives them a reason they can't just take off immediately. Basically, is the kind of the point there. I think.
Yeah. And then one thing I wrote here, I'm like, not for nothing, but the original Star Trek series was like 15 years before this. The budget was pocket change, and it looked better than this. Now, again, there's moments that's fine, and like to me, like the look is not by remotely. I think if you had had better writing, which then could have maybe upped the act, that itself could have upped the acting, you know, enough. Then the budget itself wouldn't have. Wouldn't have been an issue because a lot of the things later on, look wise, I didn't necessarily have an issue with.
Yeah, once they kind of got into the temple or mountain or whatever, it was it just sort of generic, you know, rock stuff.
But one thing I noticed, I noticed this throughout the movie, is this crew goes to fucking pieces and starts fucking fighting and screaming and threatening to kill each other at the drop of a goddamn hat.
Yeah, which would have been awesome if they explained to us any of the reasons why these characters don't like each other.
Yeah,
exactly. And it's like they get down, they're like, "Hey, we gotta try and rescue the other crew, or see if there's any survivors."
Which they forgot all about. That.
Which they forgot all about.
They forgot to do that. Oops.
Kind of. They get the first time they go out. the ship crashes, and this is one of the few times I'm going to give them props.
Yeah.
Okay, is that they had a line of dialogue that says, "Hey, the air is breathable,"
Yeah.
which they don't do that much in this movie. But I
appreciated that.
I appreciated that. Hey, here's why we don't, because we don't want to mess with helmets in a space movie.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. So crew lands. I'm going to call him blonde guy. Blonde guy before got sick when he was on the, what do you call it, as they were landing.
Yeah.
I said he was acting odd. I thought it was going to be like an alien thing, but
Yeah.
so then they have two teams. There are two teams going out
Yeah.
to this ship that they apparently found. They're Team A that I called. It was on his own guy,
Yeah.
Happy Days, and the sick guy,
Yeah.
and then Baldy and Mustache from the other party.
Baldy mustache, yeah.
Yeah.
Baldy being Sid Haig.
Yeah, Sid Haig, whose weapon I thought was rather cool. He had boomerangs
Yeah.
that apparently were like part of his religion, I think, or something. But
Yeah. He talked about it follows the light. Like he didn't like he had to be like later on in the movie short like he had to be really convinced in order to take a gun from Mustache.
exactly, and
Yeah.
which is again where I come back that the movie had grand ideas. They just didn't think through these.
Yeah. And so they're getting into the ship quickly, whereas they needed more trying to get to know
Because the movie
some
itself,
of it.
unless stuff's edited out where I watch, because the movie was about an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was out. Yeah,
Or
it was
roughly.
like it was out without credits. It was about 79.
Yeah, and so
Before.
and because I wasn't because where I was watching it on YouTube, some of the like what do you call it, gore was like blurred. It was like blurred out
Yeah.
so much. I think I was watching like a TV version. or
Yeah,
some
on
shit.
Amazon, like the gore wasn't like I was like yeah. There's one moment that I have a really big fucking problem with, but I mean, it's
You said that a few times.
well, I mean, there's one death,
I know.
but at the same time, when we get to it's one death I have an issue with. However, this movie is not remotely alone in having this issue. There's many sci-fi and horror. It's a cliche. It was a cliche at this time. So like, I'm not beating this movie to death over that. It's just, oh god, another. It's what it is midway. We've had some deaths. I think it's a blonde lady. The blonde, there's a blonde.
Yeah.
She gets killed by a gigantic maggot.
Oh yeah.
And then basically the maggot rips off all her clothes.
Oh yeah.
Rips off all her clothes before killing her. I'm like that's just fucking gratuitous.
Oh yeah. Your brother found that out because what I was doing is to prep for our podcast here, I was trying to get like a clip
Yeah.
of the original trailer.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just from when we post stuff on TikTok, follow
Yeah.
us on there. I wanted to put, just a muted
Yeah.
copy of the trailer looping,
Yeah.
with it kind of thing. And I apparently clicked the Red Band trailer. I didn't even, the Red Band, ironically on YouTube, the what do you call it? The movie was edited, blurred that out.
Yeah.
The Red Band trailer did not. And so I'm like, oh, glad I watched it through.
Yeah. Before posting it on the TikTok.
But here's my biggest death problem comes here, is that they had the two teams on the ship that crashed in the beginning,
Yeah.
and the team A's looking for stuff, team B's looking for stuff. They find a bunch of dead people, find some dead people, and they regroup. Okay, during the course of this, the blonde guy who's sick in the beginning, starts getting chased a little bit,
Yeah.
but then they're like, hey, let's go, and they just sort of leave him behind. It's not explained at all, but now then I wrote, okay, apparently we're in 3 teams now.
Yeah.
The On Your Own guy and Happy Days Later together, Baldy and Mustache are together, and now Sick Guy's on his own.
Yeah.
He's fucked.
Yeah, fuck him.
And he apparently dies. They edited out the scene where they find out, and they edited out the scene where they brought him back to the ship. Because it goes from he dies, then it goes fast forwards in time to the 4 remaining are back on their ship and they know he's dead.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm not expecting much from him, but just some cohesion.
Yeah, so go on. It's we knew when we chose it, we knew kind of what we're getting into, and the bar's not high. We're not expecting Citizen Kane, but come on, again, Mike Myers, Wayne World, we can do better
But,
than
yeah, but
this.
just-
You can do better than this.
Like for people to start dying later in the temple, that's fine because
Yeah.
it's like the crescendo of
Yeah.
everything. But like here, they're going. But like before you go back to your ships, you can go. Okay, there's 5 of us.
Yeah.
There's 4 now.
Yeah.
It-
Yeah, and so we're not at the end yet, but in order to help us wait, the big quote twist in the end that these aren't quote monsters and stuff like that is that it's basically it manifests your fears, which doesn't jive with the entire movie. Like I said, and especially because a lot of these, like some of these creatures are like specific, like all right. And then they come back and they attack, like the last man standing and stuff. Like, okay, no. But what they should have done again, they needed to take some time, to as they're developing. You don't have to be late about, but they should have let us know, maybe not everybody, but a few of these people's fears. That like sets the groundwork. We like it's supposed to be like fear. We don't get anybody's fears beforehand.
Yeah, it doesn't have to like hit you on the head with it.
No.
Because I'm probably not going to notice it anyway until it happens. Because
Yeah.
you know me. But like, just have, for example, we talked about that part in the beginning where like everybody's just have a quick thing about like you just have something in there, some sort of story or something in the beginning when they're all meeting each other, and they just don't have any of that. That's why it felt to me like the whole "it's your fears" thing was something to like, oh shit, let's just have it be that.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what it felt like.
And so we go to Commander's team, and they're going up like a small hill, and Commander can't even fucking get up the hill without almost fucking dying.
And this is his Paul Reiser part, I'll say, because I think you mentioned you didn't know why they had abandoned the whole there was a part of dialogue I think you missed where they actually talked about, oh, we're getting some sort of sensor or something, so our things are your contract basically is what they're saying is that you have to go check this shit out. Basically is what and so it's like, hey, you're going up, and he's like, the actor looks like he's maybe 50, but he's like it feels like he's 90. And
then there's like this big hole that they gotta rappel down, and he's like, I'm gonna be the one that does it. And they're like, no, you almost just fucking died walking up a small hill. Like, let one of us do it. We're, and he's like, no.
Because it's like,
I'm going to do it. And yeah, he fucking blows that, doesn't
he? Yeah, because basically here again, they split into 2 teams, which is, a big sci-fi horror trope. They have the commander, mustache guy, and blonde lady.
Yep.
Spoiler, my brother mentioned she'll die.
Yeah,
and then they have the on-own guy, Happy Days, and Baldy are together. They're going inside the temple.
Yeah.
For some reason, they decided to let the 90-year-old man walk up the temple.
Yeah.
But then, basically, goes down and repels down in, and he gets killed
by tentacles, which for the budget, I thought that was kind of a cool death.
No, I thought that. I thought that
some of those slurping stock sounds that
it was gross, and it took me out of it only because I think a lot of other stuff post that have used that same sound is what I think I heard.
But then I get another thing. After this, we get the fucking captain, and so keep in mind, the captain has essentially through like loops, like she's also kind of like darkly and mysteriously alluded to the fact that like this same thing essentially supposedly the same thing happened to Hesperus. It fucking took out all her crew. She was the only one that survived, and like
they mention it. They mention it a bunch.
Yeah, and like she's like, no, that hey guys, shit's fucking real. We got to be fucking serious. Like she's basically without saying basically
stop fucking around. We're all gonna die if you guys.
Yeah, and then it goes to her, and then like Ray Walston's there, and like they're on the screens. They're trying they're on the screen like. One on the screen, she's like eating a sandwich, and she's like, they're too busy being heroes to talk to us. Like, don't try to talk. Don't try to get them on a communication. She literally says that they're too busy being fucking heroes to talk to us. That's a literal.
It's literally what their captain said.
Yes, it's like
when they can't get a hold of.
Like, they can't. Oh, fuck, Captain. You just basically told like, Hesperus. Like so like. She just doesn't give a shit.
No, yeah.
She just doesn't give 2 shits. And then just like later, like, this time, I'll be ready. No, you won't. Which later on we see her, Ray Walston, like later in the movie, Ray Walston goes to check on her, and what is she fucking doing? Playing video games.
Well, I think that wasn't video games. I think she was actually shooting the gun.
No, I thought he mentioned games or something like
Well,
that.
I think the game was a reference. It was supposed to be a reference back, and I could be wrong because none of this fucking shit makes sense.
Yeah.
What I took it as, Charles, is that it was like the equivalent of like the ship's gun at like the back of the ship or something. Like they can shoot it like pirates or something. I thought that she saw something in the sky and she was shooting it at that.
Yeah.
And that I don't know why maybe it was a really bad way of trying to like reference the beginning thing, which is possible. I'm not going to give it much credit for that, but
yeah. Then we go back to Mustache and Baldy Sid Haig, and then they're in the temple, and they just immediately like Mustache guy offers him a gun or something, and they just immediately just go rounds at each other again. This crew I live and die. The crystals. I live and die by the crystals. Like this crew goes to pieces fucking instantly.
But also I wasn't a huge fan of Mustache Guy, and I thought Baldy was really cool. Like
we needed more Sid Haig. Sid Haig was a legend.
His character was really cool, but like the fact that like the guy's like, hey, here's the Mustache Guy was trying to be nice. He's like, hey, you're probably gonna need a gun here, and like Sid Haig's character just loses his fucking shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, fuck you and your family for offering me a gun.
Yeah,
basically what he says.
Essentially, and so this Sid Haig has his destiny, which I thought was really really cool. But basically, some kind of alien bug. Cool in a low budget, kind of hokey, by design. Kind of little bug gets in him, and he's like, "Oh God," it's like growing, and eventually, like his arm gets severed. But and he's like, "Oh fuck!" But like the severed arm, which because he had taken I think he had a great acquiesced and taken the gun, and the bug in there is still operating his severed arm. And then
I thought that was also a pretty cool.
Yeah,
thing,
and then that kills him. But again, if you're gonna make it fears, you could like in the development thing. That's one you don't want to go through it to say everybody's fears. But that's a really quick one. That's one that you can be subtle, but how he doesn't like bugs.
Well, and also it can be subtle, but also I have no problem with this whole thing being fears.
Yeah.
But if it's all fears, why are all their fears bug related?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, but also for the fact that
it'd be a game or whatever.
But also for the fact that this is low budget, the fact is that if it's not all bugs, it would make if like one of them was like one of the other characters or something like. Because actually, you know what? You see that later with Robert Englund's character.
Yeah,
his thing is he fights himself.
Yeah.
But
yeah, exactly. Again, and you mentioned Splinter Off. This crew is instantly go, and really quickly they keep on scattering to the wind.
They keep scattering to the wind. They don't communicate with each other. And again, it doesn't take much. You just have one thing at the beginning where because newsflash, the Star Trek communicators didn't actually talk to anything.
Yeah.
You just sort of have to have something that says, hey, Baldy, are you okay? It just has to be something like that. It just has to be something like that.
Yeah, and so the maggots crawled out of the severed arm or whatever, and because Mustache shot the severed arm, but then a maggot grew. This doesn't line up with the fear thing. A maggot left the severed arm. Blonde lady's not here, but it grew up to huge size, and that's what killed Blonde.
And that's what killed and took all her clothes.
Yeah. Again, before eating her, ridiculous. And then we get the captain, whether she was shooting random shit on the planet.
Yeah, it goes back to, hey, by the way, there's 3 more characters to die here on the ship still. And so it's and back on the ship is the captain, Mr. Hand, and Robert Englund.
Yeah, and then apparently the captain does leave, and apparently she spontaneously combusts. I missed that.
I think I thought at the time it was Mr. Hand that killed her.
Yeah.
But they don't. She just. At that part where Charleston and I weren't sure if it was a game or the gun in the ship, whatever it was, it's just suddenly, I think it's Robert Englund that finds her, or I think Robert Englund, who's the engineer, goes and finds her because he's been looking for her, and just suddenly it's like a flaming skull. like
Yeah.
a flaming skeleton. They just sort of go, fuck, that sucks,
Yeah.
and just sort of keep moving on.
Yeah, and then later there's another at this point, like I think I can't remember because I'm already trying to block some of this movie out of my head. But there was like basically like part of the people that are out there, like I think they ditch another person that's out there, and I'm just who does, and I'm just like, yeah, fuck that guy, I guess.
Was that On Your Own? I forget.
Might have been. I'm like, yeah, fuck
What,
that
are
guy.
you talking about when they're on the bridge?
You know, it's like they haven't gone back.
They haven't gone back
It's,
yet?
it's not
Okay.
the final thing. I forget. I don't know the detail, but like I was starting to block it. But there's another thing where basically it's like, fuck you. You die.
Yeah, because basically they have some talking on the ship, and then the 5 remaining.
Oh
people,
no, yes. So no, I'm wrong. It is back when they've gone out because
he's-
they
he's
close the door on him. It's
Yeah.
that's what it was. It's like because it's Mustache, it's Happy Days, it's Freddy Krueger, and it's that guy.
On Your Own guy.
On Your Own guy, yeah.
Yeah.
It's that guy, and they're like, it's like, close the door on him. Like, yeah, fuck him, apparently.
Yeah, because he was in charge.
Yeah.
Dude, I think he was, because he takes command like numerous times.
Yeah, and he was the one that basically he's like he's
He's
had
an
a
asshole.
temper, like he was ready to go from 0 to I'm gonna gut you like a pig, like instantly. It was kind of funny.
It was like, okay, you're supposed to be mad in this scene, but it's like it wouldn't be like, hey, I'm kind of mad. It's like, hey, you like burned my soup? Yeah.
I'm gonna rape your corpse.
Yeah. Not to reference a Dungeon Cry. I'm gonna kill your mother.
Yeah. God bless them.
Yes.
Please read Dungeon Crawl and Carl
Yes.
if you haven't.
Yes,
They're not a sponsor, but they're awesome.
they're more than welcome to.
Yeah. And this,
There's just a giant. We're kind of towards the crescendo or at the end. Basically, the first part they kind of got into the temple. Now they're all in the temple. They leave the what do you call it? On Your Own guy on the bridge, and I forget how he died. He dies somehow on the
they're
bridge.
like, yeah, fuck
Bridge
it. We
come,
didn't
they're
like
like,
him
hey,
anyway.
the bridge will collapse, and like we're almost out of time here.
Yeah,
guys.
it's like it's just at a time. We want Mustache. We want Happy Days Lady. We want Robert Englund.
And basically, and now when they're inside, Mr. Hand sort of wanders off, and just nobody notices.
Yeah.
Engineer, what do you call Robert Englund gets left behind, and just sort of no one cares.
Yeah.
And, which I think that the purpose of that was to get Mustache and Happy Days together.
Yeah, and because at this point they learn like basically that they're fighting fears. Robert Englund, fights, as we alluded to, fights himself. And again, I like Robert Englund. He doesn't have much to do. But it's
Nah,
just,
he's fine.
he's Freddy. He's. I think it's might even be the next year. I think first.
Yeah,
Freddy was
it's. I looked it up.
82.
It wasn't too far off from
Yeah.
when he got Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, so he did Freddy pretty soon after that.
And I will say, from all the acting in this, he was the one, like him and Robert Higgs,
Yeah,
because I didn't
Sid
realize that
Haig.
was him at the time.
Haig.
Those two, like their acting doesn't take it. It doesn't
Yeah.
take anything away.
Yeah. So he fights and he defeats Robert Englund defeats his fear.
Yes.
But then I'm trying to remember whether that we see him die or they just fucking forget about him. It's like
You
like,
might
he
notice that we don't remember everything.
Yeah.
It's because I think we're blocking a lot of this out.
Yeah.
Because
Then more tentacle dying. That's when Happy Days basically gets killed.
now her death was gross as fuck.
Yeah.
She's in a tight tunnel. Now they actually explain a fear.
Yeah.
They explained quietly that she had a fear of tunnels.
Yeah.
She had a fear of tight spaces. But in the course of this temple, she had to go through tight spaces that ends up killing her. At least they explained it.
Yeah.
And it was like her head fucking exploded. I didn't see it explode because I was watching it on YouTube, and they're like, "Hey, blurry."
Yeah. And so, Mustache has, kind of a showdown talk with, Ray Walston, who reveals himself, I'm, the master. You can't kill me. Fuck you. But he's like, yeah, this is like a toy, ancient toy for something that could... First I'm thinking, wait, fucking toy? This is
I'm like, yeah,
dangerous
that was-
fucking toy.
That was my first thing. Is like they make a big point of saying they used to have kids go through this.
Yeah.
It's just like you hated your kids.
Yeah, and so, Mustache is How dare you? Fine, fuck you. I'm not gonna. And so, like, he's sick. He's like, yeah, it's fears. Yeah, you conquered and did your fears, and congratulations. You win. And then, but like, he was like, yeah, I'm not playing, but by your rules. And then, so even though it's fears, he's sick. He sicks the same like tentacles that killed the commander, and like, wait, I. So like, all right, but then he defeated, and basically he becomes the new master.
He becomes a new master, which sets up the sequel I think they're currently filming.
Oh, the current, yeah, the sequel,
The sequel 50 years in the making.
yeah, with God, well, I guess Robert Englund's alive. But I'm sure Happy Death Lady is, but no, Sid Hagen,
Yeah, no.
Ray Walson,
New
Sid
cast.
Haig, yeah, new cast.
Well, that wraps up the that is the Galaxy of Terror. Now, what was James Cameron in this?
I don't.
I think he was like, it said like production.
Yeah, something's well. Like, this is not James Cameron's fault.
No. Yeah,
he was getting
He
experience.
didn't I think like the only reason his name is attached to it is because he's James Cameron. I think he had something to do with the production design. Or
he was
like
he was a worker bee in this. So like this shit stain is not on his underpants. All right, so if you're not familiar with us, we have 2 rating scales. We have diamonds, we have duds. Each goes from 1 to 5. Diamond is it's a legitimately good film, but within that, 1 to 1, I mean, it was good. It was a good flick, but I'm not gonna revisit it. 5, it's oh god, this is amazing. I want to revisit it often. Dud, it's a bad movie, but again, within that, there are levels. A dud of 1 is I want to claw my eyeballs out. There was no redeeming value. As it gets higher, closer to 5, it's so bad it's good. This guilty pleasure. This movie may suck, but but it was fun along the way. So that kind of thing. Where do you? Are you a diamond or a dud?
I am a dud.
Oh, wow, that's stunning.
My dud, I have a feeling my dud might be higher than yours.
Mm-hmm.
My dud is 2.5 because I have a feeling, and I could be way off base here. I have a feeling this might get more fun to watch on subsequent viewings. Not that I'm ever gonna find out.
Yeah, no, we're not as far off as you think, because again, this movie sucks. But again, there are pieces of it that transcended just oh god, should we like the fucking captain? The fucking captain, like it was bad, but it wasn't so bad. Okay, this is actually it was entertaining to watch. Just how fucking shitty she was. So I'm a dud of a 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a dud of a 2. Like it's bad, but it wasn't. There are pieces of it that were so bad that it did make it entertaining to watch. And there were some legitimately good concepts. I think if they had done a rewrite, that probably would have been enough.
It needed more time. It needed more time to
enough.
better.
That probably would have been enough to push the quality quite a bit. If they could have had a rewrite, kind of a uniform thing, given some more time, then the low budget aspect would have been able to forgive a lot more things. And for me, it is bad, but it is not bad because of being low budget.
No.
I did not. I thought we did outside of the little too dark at times. The low budget aspect did not bother me in any way.
No. The low budget stuff. It just felt like at the time a lower budget version that was like influenced by Alien and trying to do their own thing.
And low budget creatures can be entertaining.
Yeah, and I
know,
think
scary,
what happened was
disgusting.
What happened with this, I think, in the end, is that they had too many cooks in the kitchen, or whatever that saying is. They basically had too many like what they thought were great ideas, and they had like let's say 15 ideas they wanted to, and they should have had like 2.
Yeah,
is what the issue was. But so what are we doing next time?
So next time we are doing a bit of a departure from this. We're going from Galaxy of Terror to the animated cartoon series of the early 80s, Dungeons and Dragons. First 3 episodes.
First 3 episodes. I don't know where my brother is going to watch them. I'm going to watch them on YouTube.
That's where I'm going to watch them.
They're free on YouTube also.
I think that's probably the only place to find them, to be honest.
Yeah,
easiest way to find
it. I vaguely remember this. I remember some of this as a kid. I don't remember much about it.
I don't remember anything about it. I mean, I've heard in recent years. I know there was a Dungeons and Dragons movie, which is a good movie.
Yes.
Like they had some pretty blatant intentional homages to it.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah. So tune in next time.
Tune in next time. Follow us on all the stuff. We're on, the TikTok
Love
and all that.
The Instagram,
the
Facebook.
Spotify. Oh, follow us on all that fun stuff. We're trying to get our follows and subs up. But yeah, let us know what you think. Let us know if you have any ideas for us to watch next time. And we will see y'all in the next one. Bye.
Have a good week. Love.